Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto Naruto Next Generations discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why it's time for us to consider a very controversial topic that I'm curious to know where you guys fall on this, which is after Boruto chapter 72 showed us Code splitting up the 10 tails, and after Boruto chapter 80 pretty much took us into the Boruto time skip, are we getting ready for the potential return of Kurama at some point in the future of the Boruto manga itself? Now, if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you know exactly what my stance is on this topic itself. After Baryon mode was explained to us and after we saw Kurama died, I took the firm line of saying Kurama's not getting reborn, and a few years later I did the video trolling on the thumbnail with Naruto holding a baby Kurama, only to say in the video I don't think that Kurama's getting revived. However, now that it's clear that we're getting into the Boruto time skip with chapter 80 feeling like the final chapter before a big time jump or a small jump between chapter 80 and 81, and then have chapter 81 take us into the time skip, and after Boruto chapter 75 introduced the concept of Shinjutsu, I've been going back and I've been rereading the Boruto manga, especially after that Sarada Mangekyo Sharingan pattern Kishimoto's last bit of art he drew for Boruto years ago was confirmed in the manga. I wanted to see if there was something I discounted when I was reading the manga for the first time as it was coming out, and when I reread chapter 72 all over again, I got that sick feeling in my stomach that I did when I first read that chapter. Code, with an imperfect, defective karma seal, was able to take the Ten Tails and break it apart and mold it into the Claw Grimes, i.e. that Ten Tails army that he made. Code making that Ten Tails army shows that for people with the karma seal, they're built different, and something that was always one of the more impressive things from Naruto's manga is now on the verge of not really being all that impressive anymore, which is Hagoromo using the creation of all things to make the 9 Biju, and honestly, due to the nature of shonen, it shouldn't feel that crazy to you as a reader. Power cliffing is something that shonen do all the time. The escalation of prior benchmarks is always used as a writing crutch in order to show how powerful or how skilled a character is, because the prior reference is something that viewers can look back to and go, okay, this is where this character is currently at. However, if Code is able to do so with a dud karma, imagine what Boruto's able to do when he's in full control of Momoshiki's power and uses his own karma seal. Hagoromo, as far as Otsutsuki go, he was a mere half-breed, whereas Boruto right now is genetically 100% Otsutsuki, and his body is a container of one of the two Otsutsuki Kaguya wrote down in her scroll by name that she was afraid of in the manga. If Code ever gets desperate enough to put the Ten Tails back together and gets defeated, Boruto would be able to break it apart to make a new Kurama just based off of what we've seen, and that's before we even factor in any type of Shinjutsu. According to Naruto's manga, Hagoromo, using Yin Yang release, was able to turn fantasy into reality, taking physical energy in the form of Yang chakra and taking spiritual energy in the form of Yin chakra to make physical substances out of thin air and breathe life into the creations that he made, which is now in turn how he made the Biju from the Ten Tails chakra. A half-breed Otsutsuki managed to do this. Code merely split up the juubi, but it got me thinking about the fact that karma, due to how busted it is and it being the true power of Otsutsuki, it should allow Boruto to reform a chunk of the Ten Tails into another nine-tailed fox, which brings me to my second part. Whatever Kurama Boruto makes, it will not be the Kurama we saw throughout the entirety of Naruto's manga and for the chunk of Boruto. However, we also know that there are ways to summon souls from the afterlife in Naruto's universe. Typically, it's something when you bring back souls from the dead, it comes at tremendous cost. Every jutsu it does this, including the Rini Rebirth, which I explained numerous times how there was a retcon made in the 4th Ninja War. All these jutsu usually come at the expense of whoever uses them. They end up dying. Otsutsuki, on the other hand, they play by a different set of rules, and Kurama's soul is in the Pure Land vibing with Minato and Kushina somewhere, which is something that quite frankly worries me and has me keeping an eye on board. So the idea of him practicing Shinjutsu and seeing how far he can go with it and making a Kurama, it isn't that crazy. It will be as easy for Boruto as it would be for you to use the Wonder app to drop some pretty fire art on your phone. This video is going to be brought to you by Wonder. Wonder is an app that turns words into digital art, and given how massive the current wave is right now for digital art, this is an app I strongly recommend. It's pretty easy to use. Just type in the words that you want. Like for instance, I typed in Boruto in a graveyard because Boruto is going to go to the graveyard and make himself a brand new Kurama. That way he can replace the Kurama that died during the Ishiki battle. I even took the photos of a couple of friends of mine and I got them drawn as twin jokers that that are Jedi, and I even took it a step further and had the Joker drawn as a Jedi, on top of being simple to use, so simple that even the biggest doofus in the world, Naruto, could use it. Like literally all I had to do was type in Boruto as a doctor ninja, and I got Boruto as a ninja with a headband that has a doctor medical symbol on it. Looking so good that even Kawaki's shocked by it. The art absolutely slaps with how gorgeous it is, and if you use my link to download a free trial of the premium version, you'll get 20 plus styles, faster speeds, unlimited art, and absolutely no ads. There are different styles you can choose from. For instance, I chose military and cyberpunk for avatars I wanted created of some loved ones, which you can see here on the screen. And dude, these look amazing. I had a lot of fun playing around with the app and using photos of a few close loved ones, and the watercolor one is definitely one that I'm going to be saving to my phone to show to somebody close to me. If you need to create artwork or you need some inspiration, click here to download Wonder and get a free trial of the premium version to put your creativity to the test. With the premium version, you're going to be getting 20 plus styles, faster speeds than the base version. There are no ads and you get unlimited art. Thank you again to Wonder for sponsoring today's video. Do we really think it's that crazy to say that there's a Shinjutsu that allows for bringing souls back from the dead? I don't think so. The story has literally toyed with the concept of playing God and placing souls into another body. Look at the Kurama seal itself. It extracts the data of an Otsuki into their vessel, and once it's done, the soul of the Otsuki resurrects into the body of the vessel that they're born into. Amato wants to use the Kurama to place the soul of his dead daughter Abiki into her clone Delta. We learned about Shinjutsu and how Shibai was able to transcend life and death itself. His soul exists on a higher plane. Summoning a soul from the afterlife is child's play at this point, and doing so without the requirement for life being exchanged, it feels like it's possible because we're literally seeing characters cheat death throughout Boruto's story due to methods of the Otsuki themselves. Just as Hagoromo made the Biju and gave them all their different personalities, Boruto getting his hands on the Ten Tails and reforming it into a Kyuubi and placing the soul of Kurama into it, it doesn't feel like a stretch. Shinjutsu is the answer to Kawaki potentially not using his karma on Delta, assuming he doesn't do so. The Asian mythology behind Amato's name talks about the river of the afterlife, the Sanzu River, and how the souls of the young children are in purgatory and are being guided depending on which path that they take. I think we're in a similar situation, but one that will be different. Obviously, we don't know the why behind Boruto doing this. We can't see into the future unless it's to place the Kyuubi into Naruto when he's unsealed, or if it's a big brain way to get us to Kishimoto's original drawing for Boruto with a Kyuubi mode, since it's the last thing we haven't seen from his drawing from almost 7 years ago. But I have this huge knot in my stomach that it doesn't feel like the craziest idea that it seems like. You guys know my stance on this. Bringing Kurama back to life, it feels like a cop-out. For me, it would be bad writing on the level of Tokyo Revengers's manga ending, which I'm not gonna spoil, but that ending is hot garbage set on fire in a lava pit at the front doorsteps of hell, and it killed any interest I had in even watching season 2 of the anime, even though that's one of my favorite arcs from the anime. That manga ending just left a bad taste in my mouth for the franchise. It would feel something like that for me if Kurama were brought back this way, because I'm a firm believer when you have death in literature, it has to mean something. I was not a fan of Edo Tensei in the war arc, even though there were instances where Edo Tensei was used brilliantly. I still felt like, with the exception of Dan and with Itachi and Minato, it cheapened the deaths of other characters. It made their deaths feel less impactful for me as a reader, because the cruelty of death is that it's sudden and it doesn't always result in a story being finished. Sometimes the story is left unfinished. It's why anytime an author decides to bring back the dead, they roll the dice, because it can crap on the writing of the story itself. It can take a very masterfully told story and it can absolutely ruin it. However, this would be going a step further. Boruto were able to summon a dead spirit from the afterlife and place it into another body. It makes the whole sacrifice of Baryon mode feel completely unearned, in my opinion. For as much as I wanted more out of Ishiki, and you guys know I wanted more out of the character, even though I enjoyed him, it robs him of the weight that he had as a villain, because we know when we look back on that battle that it came at a great cost. as it should have. You had characters battling someone that not even Kaguya had the balls to attack head up. She had to sneak attack him. Just as someone as strong as Kaguya had to at least catch one body, which she did with Obito, it's the same thing with Ishiki by being responsible for Kurama's death by forcing Naruto to use that power. As someone who has read a ton of shonen, it's not the craziest thing I've seen, but if things play out like this, it's gonna leave a very sour taste in my mouth. I'm cool with fan service, but not at the cost of something like this. Edo Tensei is where I draw the line, and only because of the big payoffs that we had with Itachi and Minato. However, I'm so curious to know how you guys feel about this though. Would you be okay with Kurama returning because Boruto made another Kurama and used Shinjutsu to place Kurama's soul into the new Nine Tails? While you think that over, click here to watch this other Naruto Explained video, and most importantly, don't forget to go check out the Wonder app, and thank you again to Wonder for sponsoring today's video, because without them it would not be possible.